What's up, pro wrestling fans? Welcome to another edition of The Nation's Corner. Joining me, as always, Debhausen, the great and powerful, Mongrovian Mike, and Tony Justice, the greatest truck driver of all time. What's up, people?
Yeah.
What's up? What's up?
What's up?
20
Just
years
like
later,
that,
still
we're
doing
off
that.
windmills already. It's all over. Go home.
Yeah.
Wow, the chat is pumping tonight. We got a lot of people in there. Seth and Mongrovian Mike, Deb, Tony.
Wow.
Mrs. Front Row,
Hey, guys.
Todd, I see. Wow, Trendis, everybody's in there tonight.
Yeah.
SummerSlam's here. I am excited. This is probably the most excited I've been for SummerSlam in a long time. WWE's done such an incredible job building this show that I'm just like, everything matters. Everything's cool and like interesting. And we're going to sort of break down the card and give our predictions. But overall, how are you guys feeling about all the cool stuff that's going on in the world of wrestling right now?
Oh God, there's a lot happening, as there seems to be like every week, but it's exciting for kind of everybody. We got SummerSlam tonight, we got Collision tonight, we got CCW happening right now on Title Match Network. There's indies everywhere, there's shows constantly. Mission Pro is next weekend. There's so much going on. It's just exciting.
Yep.
Yeah,
So
there's
much
all
stuff.
kinds of
So
cool
much.
stuff. Mike, so for you, I know you tend to watch like some of the stuff that I don't get a chance to watch. Like you guys watch Impact. I don't get to watch Impact because there's a lot of stuff on. I think even Impact is telling some amazing stories. So I'll be interested to see where they're headed with some of their stuff. But I do mainly want to focus on WWE tonight. And we are going to talk a little Collision as well. Because I know we have some thoughts on a few things AEW related. This SummerSlam build has been interesting because there's been I'm a big fan of non-title feuds. Obviously, if there's a title involved, it's important. It's all good. Like, that's the story. There's people chasing and all that. Awesome. But I'm going to start off with my favorite thing pretty much in the last couple months, and that's Shayna and Ronda. And we've been talking about it here for the last few weeks about how they've really sort of done a good job ramping up to this feud. It did feel kind of rushed originally. But I want to get your thoughts on the video packages that we saw on Raw this week, because it was some of the most real, because it was real. And then subsequent interviews that Shayna's done this week to sort of support it. And Ronda's been eerily quiet as far as interviews, right? So, Tony, I know you saw this stuff and you had some thoughts on this.
We're finally getting the version of Shayna Baszler that we've been wanting ever since NXT. I just didn't expect it to be against Ronda. I really expected them to be together longer, but hey, we've got it now, and I'm interested to see where they go with it. I really love the packages they did. Was that on Raw? This past Monday. Yeah. They used MMA footage. They used stuff from Ronda's past and Shayna's past, and it really told the story that they're trying to tell with the package. And now it just needs to deliver in the ring, which I believe it's going to be a hard-hitting match. They're going to be trading some blows for sure. I'm interested to see how it all pans out tonight.
Yeah, Mike?
Yeah, this is I'll go even a step further. We're getting the Shayna from NXT, but we're getting so many more layers. We're getting, just like from the heart promos that they're really like. You don't know what's part of the act or what's part of them shooting on each other. And that's the beauty of it, because sometimes I like to be fooled. We all know what it is now. We know it's entertainment and all that stuff, but it doesn't have to be thrown in our face and treat us like we're dummies. So this is perfect. And as far as the vignettes, I know we'll get to them later too. the other 3 women, the triple threat match. I mean, all 5 vignettes, all those packages that we've been seeing lately have just been unbelievable, along with Cody. And it's just, it really, like, one vignette from one package from like WWE gets you all caught up on the story, and you just watch the pay-per-view. You just watch the pay-per-view. Really, it's really like there's no, certain questions you might have to ask, but no, it gives you a whole story, and everybody's getting a story when you compare it back to Attitude Era and everything. Every single person is getting a story, even down to Shotzi and EO, and just everyone has something going on more than just, oh, it's a match tonight. So,
yeah, Deb, I wanted to ask you too, like, because we all heard the interviews that Sam and Dave did this week on Busted Open and SummerSlam leading up, and they had Shayna Baszler on talking about, people were critical of Ronda, saying she checked out, she had a baby, she's not focused, blah, blah, blah. And she described the level of focus and preparation that Ronda goes through. Are you more invested in specific? I know you're a Shayna fan, but are you more invested in Ronda at this point?
I don't know if I'd say I'm more invested. Like, it's complicated because I like her. I have nothing against her. But I'm just not like as much of a fan of her like on TV as some people are. Just, I don't know how to describe it. But like, yeah, I like her. It's just I'm not a rabid fan. I'm much more of a fan of Shayna. But I do like the way they're telling this story, though. I think it's really interesting bringing all their past into it. It's obvious they have a past. Most people know about it. And if there's some people that don't know about their past, like you said, these vignettes do a great job of catching everybody up. And kind of along the lines of something I was saying last week about them like drawing non-wrestling fans into potential new fans. This SummerSlam tonight is on Peacock. So it's like we've talked about before, open up to so many more people that are subscribers to Peacock rather than just limiting it to WWE Network subscribers. And so you might have someone who goes on Peacock to try to find something to watch tonight, sees SummerSlam on the homepage, clicks on it, checks it out for a little bit, and they're going to show that video package before the Ronda and Shayna match starts. So someone who may be checking it out for the first time is going to be totally up to speed on the whole backstory and who these characters are and what their past is. And they just do that so well.
Yeah. And so another thing that we talk about is, the good guy, bad guy dynamic, the sort of traditional pro wrestling thing. And Shayna was a dominant heel champion in NXT. She's been a heel pretty much the entire time she's been at WWE. But even Shayna said, she's like, people love to hate Ronda. Ronda is by default the bad guy in this story. And they've told that story about how Shayna has been living in her shadow and all that stuff. Like, I felt for Shayna. I was like, man, this person dedicated her life, her friendship, everything to her celebrity friend. And what did she get in return? And so like in this, so Tony, are you leaning towards Shayna in this match, or do you think that Ronda might just be too dominant?
I really think Ronda's just gonna come out on top. I don't see the first of their matches they're gonna have. I don't see Shayna coming out with this. I know I'm not saying that she won't put up a fight, and it's gonna be, like I said earlier, hard hitting. But it's not gonna be no cakewalk. I know that for a fact.
Yeah.
But I think Ronda's coming out on top on this.
Yeah, and to Trenda's point, she says, I don't know who the bad guy is. I mean, they've sort of positioned Ronda as the bad guy here, but what we always say, like, every villain is the hero in their own story, right?
Yeah.
So, and like Shayna said in the interview, like, everything that they talked about in those promos was 100% real, just brought into a different story. The photos were real, the videos were real. That's all, like, genuine history. So for me, pro wrestling is best when it's real as far as like I believe what they're telling me. I need
Right.
dimensions and layers, right? So I'm
Well,
super excited
It's
for
gonna
this
get
one.
pretty real physical wise too, I'd say.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
And it's
no doubt.
funny that Trenda says that because, you know, Shayna mentioned specifically that in that interview, is that, you know, people are like, oh, I don't know who the baby face is supposed to be. Well, that's kind of the point. You're not sure. Like you said, both of them think they're in the right,
Yeah.
but you know, there's no clear good side or bad side. It's just it's a conflict. And
Yeah, well,
sometimes in true conflicts, there's no one right and one wrong.
yeah, they were both heels. They were a heel team, and Shayna turned on her heel partner. So like, who's the heel? They were both heels at the time. So now it's just like a free for all, like to see whose side do you take in this argument. They put their case forward, and people are going to choose sides. There's no good guy. There's no black or white. No good or evil person.
Yeah.
They're both badasses.
Yeah, and like Shayna said, like just in MMA, whoever your favorite fighter is, they're the good guy in your fandom. So yeah, it's going to be
Just
interesting.
another victim.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Another story that I think they've done a good job telling is obviously it's easier when you have two people like this as Seth Rollins and Finn Balor. Finn Balor, a member of the Judgment Day, which Judgment Day has been just on fire, and it's crazy that they're like so popular, so over in a company where you have the Cody Rhodes story, you have the Bloodline story. They're like the third biggest story, and they're huge. Like they're not, they're still a huge deal. You have four members each doing cool things. So in this match, like I'm very intrigued by the fact that Finn did tell the story about winning the title 7 years ago and going out with injury and all that stuff, and the history that he has with Seth. So Deb, are you interested in this match? Do you care who wins?
I do care who wins because I'm a Finn Balor fan since the very beginning, and I want him to get some sort of redemption over Seth Rollins. Obviously it's not for the same title, but yeah, I think I really, really hope that Finn wins this. They did a great job of telling that backstory, even though Finn kind of said in his interview with Dave that, it seems like people are more concerned with that backstory than he is. Quick side note though, I really, really want Busted Open to release the full video of that interview. They released the little clip on Instagram. But no, that was a great interview, and I thought it was amazing how nonchalantly he was describing getting his head stapled.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And so I actually the video clip that Busted Open posted on Instagram, I sent it to my mom, and I said, this is crazy that he's describing what happened like this so nonchalantly, and he's laughing through the whole thing. And then I sent her the picture of the injury. So I said, this is the injury he's referring to. And her response was, oh crap, that must have hurt. But I really wish he would post the whole video of the interview. It was so funny. And I loved him describing how all that went down from his perspective.
Yeah. And Mike, for you, I know you're a big fan of building championships, building titles, equity, long-term storytelling, all that good stuff. This is a new title, right? Seth's only had it for a minute.
Yeah.
Is now the time for Finn to win this title, or does Seth keep it for a while?
Seth Rollins doesn't need a title. He's Seth freaking Rollins no matter what. Even though anybody here can't explain what the hell he is, but it is what it is. I just want to hear the fans going, boo, That's what I want to hear. Now, Finn, and look, they told a good story. Listen, Finn just wants to take that belt title off him. That's it. He just wants to take it off him. And really, I mean, Judgment Day with all the titles and the briefcase, and that needs to be seen till WrestleMania. We need that. We need that.
Yeah, Tony, what about you?
Well, I'm sitting here thinking, I just saw Chris's comment in the chat. It's going to be a good match because Damian Priest is going to be there and wondering if he's going to cash in or not. He may not be there through the whole match, but he may come out at the end. Let's say Finn does win, and let's say he's beat down at the end of the match and he does win the championship, right? And then here comes Damian Priest. I mean, you have that, and then you're going to have feuding members of the Judgment Day, because that would be a perfect opportunity for Finn and Damian Priest to go at it. They kind of hinted at it a few weeks ago. I think they got back on track. Judgment Day's been stronger than ever the past few weeks. Been dominating Raw. I mean,
what if, I'm sorry, it just came to me, like, what if freaking Jey Uso goes over tonight and takes the belt, and Damian comes out and cashes it in, and then Roman just comes back and takes it. Roman just comes back and takes it back on SmackDown.
And then The Rock comes out, and then Randy Orton comes out. Goldberg takes over.
Yeah. And then Mil Mascaras won't go up, won't let anyone go up.
Oh my God. So along the lines of what Tony was saying with Damian Priest, what if Damian Priest comes out at some point during the match? Damian Priest just comes out and he's kind of maybe taunting them both. You don't know what he's going to do. Is he going to cash in and take the title away from Finn, or is he going to support Finn as his teammate? What if that happens?
Yeah, I mean, Damian Priest could come out and circle through the whole match. And if Finn wins, he might decide not to cash in because that's his teammate. And he might just be poised and ready to pull the trigger. And if Seth wins, maybe that's when he cashes in. So it adds that other layer of suspense through the whole match.
Right.
Speaking of equity, someone who's done an unbelievable job building importance and sort of relevance to the title is Gunther in this Intercontinental title. He's had a long reign, a historic reign. We heard the interviews with him this week. Really interesting to hear his perspective on how he approaches his training and the psychology of his matches. He's very old school. He told us a lot without really giving away much, if that makes sense. And I really appreciated that interview. I felt like I learned a lot, but I didn't get any behind the scenes stuff. He talked about spending time in Japan and learning all the different types of strong styles. And I really like that. And look, Drew McIntyre is Drew McIntyre, but I keep this title on Gunther for another 2 years. He's doing an amazing job. So, Deb, are you on board with that? Or do you think it's Drew's time after all the stuff he's been through?
As much as I would like to see Drew get, a good title reign in front of fans, I do think it's Gunther's time right now. It really is. I agree with you. Keep the title on Gunther for a while. I think he is kind of the perfect person to bring prestige back to that title. And just that interview that he did on Busted Open, listening to the kind of the way he described his thought process in a lot of ways, it's just so Austrian.
Yeah.
I was, I know that he's not German, he's Austrian, but they're very similar cultures in a lot of senses. And and the whole time I was like, that is just so like someone that's German, to just kind of be so straight and focused and really not have any other cares. I just want to go out there and do my thing. Like, I don't care about anything else. And yeah, it was really refreshing to hear that. I become a bigger and bigger fan of his. Like, every time I hear him speak, every match he has, he just kills it. So yeah, it's his time. Keep the belt on him for quite a while.
You know, and something that was interesting about the interview that Dave and Sam did, and shout out Dave Lagarca and Sam Roberts had great chemistry on the show.
Oh my God, they
on
do.
Friday.
Yes.
Today was a
Always.
lot of fun, man. I love hearing them do their thing because they complement each other.
Yeah.
But when they were talking about Gunther, they talked about how initially when he lost the weight in the main roster and all that stuff, people were like, "Oh, he doesn't look as imposing as he used to," but he actually looks taller now. Like he
Yeah.
looks,
Mhm.
especially in backstage promos, you realize even with the other members of Imperium, he is the most imposing figure. And now seeing him, what he does in the ring, it's just, yeah, I'm a huge fan. I hope he continues to hold that title. The hardest match on this whole card for me is going to be the women's triple threat. I honestly can't pick a winner, and that's not that they haven't told a good story. It's that all three competitors are at the very top of the mountain from a skill level and from a character level, and I can see valid reasons why all three of them would win. And of course, we're talking about Asuka, Charlotte Flair, and Bianca Belair. I think they talked a little bit on Busted Open this morning about the possibility of Bianca having a heel turn. And Mike, I know you're a big fan of the heel turn. We saw it with Street Profits and their reforming of the Hurt Business. Are we going to see that with Bianca?
Well, you know, the Hurt Business might need a little, you know, female touch here and there. Not man, touch. I mean, fist.
Well, she's stronger than most of them. So.
Exactly. She, you know, yeah, she could take care of her own, and she could still be like a China type bodyguard for
And could you imagine Bianca and Montez like doing their entrance together, walking their entrance together, both like dressed to the nines?
Yeah, and you know, I like it, and you see how they have a team. They have a team move. Did you see how they did a double? They did a team maneuver on the guys when they broke into the ring on SmackDown, which was pretty cool. Yeah, they needed an attitude adjustment, and I'll remind everybody when Bianca and the Profits when they all debuted on NXT, they were all heels.
Yeah.
They were kind of, you know, Profits were like these annoying heels. They were kept, you know, bothering people, and Bianca was just, you know, herself except a heel, you know.
Yeah.
And she could pull that off real well. You remember, you don't go here. She'll get that attitude. Yeah.
So Tony, is Asuka keeping her title here tonight or no?
No, I see Charlotte walking away with it yet again.
Really?
Yeah, I do. I'm calling it. I called. Let's see if I'm 2 for 2. I called Sheeta winning the championship Wednesday night. So we'll see if I'm right tonight. You know,
Can
so
confirm.
I'm
Shout out to
Charlotte.
Hikaru Shida.
Yeah. But yeah, it can't be Bianca, right? Because if she's going to turn heel, she's got to have a reason to turn heel, and her not winning this match tonight would be that trigger. So I think that Bianca's going to lose. She's going to go all, you know, just turn heel, full heel tonight, and I see Charlotte walking away with it again.
So
I say Asuka goes for the mist on Charlotte, and Charlotte pulls Bianca into it, and that puts Bianca out of it, and whatever happens. It could go either way. I'm saying it's either going to be Charlotte or Asuka. Bianca is not going to get that belt tonight.
Yeah, I mean, the fan in me wants to see Charlotte eventually break Rick's record. I think, you know, she's got many more years ahead of her. I think it's only a matter of time. It's not an if, but a when.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't know if tonight's the night. Deb, is tonight the night that Charlotte makes that? Well, she's at 15 now, right? So this would make 16, tying the record, I believe.
So I actually think that Asuka is going to win tonight. I agree with the whole Bianca turning heel. So Bianca's not going to win. I think Charlotte loses, and that is just more fuel to her fire. And then, we get some weeks or whatever with vignettes of her kind of, saying how maybe she was cheated out of it or whatever. But I think that's, I think you have to add a little more fuel to her. The vignette we saw last night on SmackDown was great. It definitely gives her more of kind of the cool factor. She's wearing fancy earrings, she's drinking champagne on a boat. But yeah, I think you need a little more fire under her. Give her a little more heat, a little more passion.
But we also saw that vignette that they did on Asuka, and they showed her training. They showed a different side of Asuka, an MMA trainer. We saw a very physical side of her that I don't think we've really ever seen. We've seen her in the ring. We've seen some stuff behind the scenes, but that video really underscored like how dangerous she is.
Yeah.
The video packages are phenomenal. Like they're amazing.
Unbelievable.
It's cinema, right?
It is. Cinema. It really is. They joked about that on Busted Open today, but it really is.
Yeah. Speaking of vignettes, back in the Attitude Era, I used to host pay-per-view parties at my house, and I had WCW pay-per-views and WWF pay-per-views, and people would come over when they bring stuff to eat. I kind of charged admission at the door, but before every pay-per-view, if you remember, they had just on the actual pay-per-view channel, they would have the vignettes playing all day long of all the lead ups, like AEW does right now with it comes on after Rampage or whatever. They had WWF had that, and it would play all day long on the pay-per-view channel leading up to the pay-per-view. So I would have that on as background noise all day long, getting ready, getting psyched for the show.
Because that was their buy-in at the time. Yeah, that was the way they got people to buy in. Have that live feed on the channel, on the pay-per-view channel, and just have whatever, the guys doing all, Sean Mooney or whoever doing it, and showing all the vignettes, getting people to buy in.
Yep.
Good. Yeah, it's similar to Super Bowl day, right? Because Super Bowl coverage starts at like noon, and for 6 hours they do video packages and interviews, and it's like pretty intense.
Yeah,
but they got a bunch of schmucks watching it just for the commercials.
But so I don't know. I'm gonna pick Charlotte as well, just because I would like her to win as a fan. But whoever wins, I will not be surprised because anyone can go at this point. Now let's talk about. We have to talk about Cody Rhodes. Okay, two things. We're going to talk about the match, but first we have to talk about the documentary that came out. The Cody Rhodes doc that came out this week it's amazing. I've been such a fan of Cody for a long time. A lot of us in the group have had a chance to meet him when he was in Ring of Honor and doing the indie shows and all that stuff. A little more difficult to catch up with him these days, but my limited interactions with him were very positive. He was always very fan friendly. After the shows, he would come out and take pictures, and he's still doing that at WWE live events and Raw and stuff like that now. So this match with Brock Lesnar on paper wouldn't really interest me. However, the story that they've told and Cody's promos and Brock's promos, Brock's a good promo. Like we've learned over the last 2 years, Brock's actually a really good promo.
Yeah.
And the story that they're telling makes me believe that Cody can actually beat him. So, Mike, for this match, do you think Cody continues to get loss after loss and have that hard times, or does he finally walk away with a victory here?
Yeah. Well, last time he slipped away with a little quick roll up and out, but then just got decimated afterwards, right? So, yeah, that's a hard call. Is he gonna get a straight out win? No, I don't think so. But I think he's gonna bring it. He's gonna bring it to Brock, where Brock is gonna, Brock suffers from the same thing that Charlotte does. When we're talking about like people don't realize how good he is at getting the other people over. Like people are not gonna see the things that they see in this match, but I mean, he's gonna do some special things for Cody in this match, and Cody's gonna get the ever living crap kicked out of him probably. Yeah, Cody's definitely due for more hard times until the Rumble.
Yeah. So Deb, I know we've talked a lot about the documentary this week. What were a couple of your favorite points that they brought up? A couple of things that they touched on.
So first of all, I loved seeing the pictures of Cody when he was a little kid because he had this adorable poofy haircut. It was. I loved the thread throughout the documentary of him like walking through the sand, and Tony, you'll just wait.
Y'all spoiling it for me.
Sorry. And
it's been a week. It's been almost a week. You're on your own.
So they described, every kind of chapter in his life, not just his career, his life. And for me personally, I think like my favorite part about it was like when they talked about Stardust. And I completely understand why he didn't like it. It wasn't like it was a comedy gimmick character that wasn't what he felt he needed to do. But I enjoyed it. It was super entertaining. He did the best he could do. And looking back on it now, like you see, oh yes, and Seth says with Stephen Amell narrating, that was one of the best parts.
Outstanding. And watching Stephen's reactions in the crowd.
Yes. Yeah. So yeah, looking back on like the footage they showed of him backstage during the Stardust time, like you could see that pain in his eyes. And that was just heartbreaking.
Went out and gave 150%. Like
yes,
and he still
made it entertaining and fun for the fans. At that time when that was going on, I don't think I was like very much aware at all of that. He didn't like it. I know that it was. I remember thinking like, this is Cody Rhodes. I really liked what he was doing as dashing Cody Rhodes. And then it was kind of like, oh, he's just, kind of the Stardust Junior now, or not Stardust, Goldust Junior. Like they just gave him kind of a similar thing as Goldust, which I liked seeing the two of them together. But, it's much more eye-opening now seeing that footage of him and hearing, how it really hurt him, not being at the level that he felt he should be.
But
and
also how every character is a little bit of the American Nightmare now.
Yes.
Like he took a little bit of whatever he could from each character. And of course you see the dashing, of course.
Yeah.
And
I think
it's true though, yeah.
That's probably the most important part to the story is that all these characters and phases of his career along the way have led him to this point. And this probably, where he is now probably wouldn't have happened without every single piece along the way. So every single piece along the way, is so integral to where he ended up being. And I just will say one last thing. I keep talking about like getting non-wrestling fans interested. So that documentary came out on Monday. When Busted Open was over at 12 o'clock, I know a bunch of you went and immediately started watching it right away. I was at work. 15 minutes later, my mom texts me a picture of her watching the Cody Rhodes documentary in her home office. and she said, I'm watching this while I work, 3 minutes in, and I already love it.
Oh, wow.
And
That's awesome.
Wow.
my mom has probably watched only a handful of minutes of wrestling since like the 80s. Like I think, you know, obviously Hulk Hogan and stuff like that. She was a teenager at that time. But yeah, for someone like her who kind of just listens to me talk about wrestling all the time and doesn't really care, she took the time out of her day to watch that while she was working at home and loved it and was invested in the story.
Yeah, something I think that I have to give them a ton of credit for. They didn't shy away from anything. They told the story of his career. They talked about the stuff he did with BTE. They had footage from BTE. They had backstage footage with him and the Bucks. They told the whole story of the formation of All Elite Wrestling by name, and they showed the All In stuff, the build, the footage from BTE when they got all of that stuff is so critical to the story of how he got to this SummerSlam match leading right up to now. And I have to give WWE a lot of credit for just saying, no, F it, we're putting all of it in there, because the fans, and Cody said that in the interview with Sam, the fans will know, like they will fight back if this isn't in there. And he was right. It was really important. It was really well done.
Yeah, because it is such an important part. Like they showed the poster of the All In poster outside of that venue in Chicago.
That's a plaque
and
on the building.
Yeah, and you know that is probably the most important single event in Cody's career, of how that day changed the entire trajectory of his life. So you can't ignore that. You can't pretend it didn't happen. I know I said this last week. You can't pretend it didn't happen.
Not a sellout of a place like that in Chicago when there's a million other things that could be done, and you just do that. And not only that, they crashed the site and sold out in a half hour or something.
29 minutes.
Less.
Yep.
Yeah, and
I remember staying up. I remember staying up late. I didn't buy the pay-per-view because obviously I didn't really at the time. I wasn't really invested in that stuff, but I knew it was a big deal. So I remember staying up late, refreshing my Twitter feed to see updates on the matches, and just laying in bed refreshing my Twitter.
Mrs. Front Row and I were actually going to go to All In. We waited. We had several devices going. We got in the virtual waiting room. Twice we had tickets in the cart, and the cart crashed.
Wow.
And we finally got back in. They were sold out. I was so angry. We were going to go to Chicago. Oh,
The thing from this documentary too is freaking Vince McMahon flew. He flew to Cody.
Yeah.
He flew to his house. Him and Pritchard. That's insane.
And another thing that really impressed me was Undertaker's comments about Cody and how much respect he had. Like, that's a guy that I don't think throws respect around a lot. Like, you have to kind of earn that place. And he had some very powerful words to say about how much he respected what he did leaving and, forging his own journey and coming back and all that stuff. So, Tony, it's totally, you have to watch it.
I'm going to go. I'm going to watch it.
Yeah.
I'm going to watch it instead of SummerSlam.
Okay, that's probably not the best plan.
Watch it tomorrow.
But I mean, whatever works for you, I guess.
I'll watch it at some point.
Yeah, so there's a battle royal. There's a Slim Jim SummerSlam battle royal. I wasn't aware of this until this morning. Confirmed entrants are LA Knight, Sheamus, Ciampa, Nakamura, Otis, Gable, Cross, Grayson Waller, who's been killing it, by the way. Matt Riddle, Santos Escobar, AJ Styles, Miz, Carl Anderson, Luke Gallows, Butch, Ridge Holland, and Austin Theory. I don't know. It's a 25-man battle royal. Battle royals aren't my thing. They're entertaining, but they're a cluster F usually for me.
Yeah, I hope Otis understands it's a battle royal over the top rope, not as many Slim Jims can you eat. Oh, and you will pop when you see the commercial because I have it on. I have it on here, and they showed him in the Alpha Academy, and he's just chomping on some Slim Jims.
gosh.
Yeah,
Yeah, they did a good interview with Otis and Gable this morning on the show. It was really fun.
horror fans too. I love them now. I love them even more.
Yeah. So Tony, over the last 3 or 4 weeks, they've really worked hard to give Ricochet an opportunity to sort of endear himself to the audience.
Yeah.
How successful has that been?
Not very. Not very. He's getting swallowed up. He's getting swallowed up by Logan Paul. Logan Paul's just too entertaining. Logan Paul, it's I don't really care for Logan Paul, but I will say that he knows where that camera is at all times, and he knows what to do, what to say in order to get his audience to react to everything he does. It's kind of like Jericho with we always used to say Jericho has the Midas touch. Well, Logan Paul kind of has that with his lane, what he does with social media, with what he does, what he says on the camera. He's got his sponsor, drink.
What's his energy drink? Yeah, what's his energy drink?
I don't
Prime.
know.
Oh,
Prime,
yeah, no.
yeah.
C4. The C4 is the sponsor of SummerSlam, and I'm a proud C4 sponsor because it's
I
not.
actually I love
It's not
C4.
Logan. It's not Logan Paul. So here we go.
I dare you to
drink C4
shotgun.
a lot.
And we're talking about Ricochet. So
I dare you to shotgun that.
I need some energy. I'm gonna do a triple topo Gijo right over the top rope. I'm gonna land on my feet.
Was it Christmas?
I'm gonna land on my feet, but then my feet will be connected to my 2 butt cheeks by that time.
Something else about Ricochet, they have given him an opportunity to, Bully always says on Busted Open, he likes a little realism mixed in with his wrestling. Well, Logan Paul gave him that opportunity and brought the realism in and mentioned Samantha Irvin, which is Ricochet's fiance. And really, I don't think they capitalized on that moment. I really don't. It could happen after the match. It could happen tonight. But who knows? I mean, who's to say?
Deb,
I just thought it was that, like you said.
impersonation.
Oh, I
Do you
can't. I don't
Samantha
have a
Irvin
voice like that.
impersonation?
Shit. I cannot.
I can do it.
Yeah.
I can do one. She always show on her TikToks. When they show her videos, she sits there and has the mic. Always has the mic on her neck, and she's constantly looking at the timekeeper, right? Because he gives her the cue to start doing her thing, right?
Yeah.
And I love how into it she gets, man. I missed the interview the other day they did with her on Busted Open. I got to go.
Oh, it was good.
To that.
It was
Yeah,
great.
very good.
I love how
the
into it she gets.
impersonation.
I did. I put the mic to my neck. That's the only
That's not an
impersonation.
impersonation.
Well,
Okay, here's my impersonation. Chelsea Green.
From Imperial.
Yeah, she's the best.
Utah!
Yeah, Samantha is just killing it.
yeah.
Her announce for Imperium is legendary.
Oh God.
Just so good.
She puts that oomph into it, like that I don't know how to describe it. It's like that Darth Vader kind of. I don't know how to describe it.
And similar to Justin Roberts, she does an amazing job pronouncing a lot of the names, and she gets everything hits everything perfectly. And she said she spends a lot of time with the talents, trying out different things and seeing what works, so that everything feels special and not just cookie cutter. So yeah, she's really good. So let's talk about this main event, right? Roman Reigns versus Jey Uso. There's a lot to say here. Jey has been just one of the cornerstones of this entire storyline for 3 years now, through the pandemic. Main event Jey Uso, coming in and out of focus through all this stuff, to the point where I said it the other day, like a few years ago, I couldn't tell the Usos apart. Now, I sure as hell know who Jey Uso is. I know who Jimmy Uso is. And he's done such a crazy good job on the microphone and getting us to believe in everything that they're doing. We know what we're seeing, but they bring so much of their family into it and so much of and just enough behind the scenes where you're like, of course I believe Jey Uso could beat Roman tonight. It's very possible.
Yeah.
I don't think it will happen, but I am not 100%. Mike, where do you land on this? See, it's not easy. I told you.
Nah, go to someone else. I'll copy.
Okay, so I will say, I think that Roman.
Did you just raise
stays.
your hand like you're in class?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Mister.
You
Mister.
in the back. No, not you. Not you. The other one.
No, I
Look,
think.
see your hair. See your hair.
I think Roman stays. I think there's a little more meat on the bone to this story. It's not quite there yet for Jay to get it. Yeah, Roman keeps it. I still think that he's gonna keep it long enough to like move up another notch on the all-time list.
So, Deb, just to that point, for him to break Hogan's record, he has to have it past SummerSlam next year.
Past SummerSlam next year. Whew, that's
Right.
rough. But we didn't think it would last this long. So who the F knows?
Who's to say?
Who's to say? It's a maybe.
Tony, what about you? You got to give Mike a few minutes. He's thinking or doing something.
He had an energy drink. So he should be full of spunk right now. But he just had an energy drink.
The C4 kicking in, yeah.
Yeah, the C4's kicking in.
He's
Right.
like Mark Henry was this morning on Busted Open.
You should be a lot of fun at 2 a.m.
Warm. My lips are tingling.
Yeah. So I think tonight we're gonna get just another installment in the Bloodline story. I don't know what's going to happen, and it's cool because what the hell was that? It's cool. It's cool because I don't know. That's my train of thought. Yeah, it's cool because we don't know, right? You don't want to know. You want to be entertained, and I just know that Roman is going to carry this belt. He's going to have this championship until WrestleMania, and then I just don't know how you're going to figure Cody back into this whole thing. But anyway, we're talking about tonight. It's going to be cool to see what happens tonight because every time the Bloodline does something, it is even when we because a few months ago, I remember some of us were saying, it's like the story is kind of hit a lull, right? And as soon as we said that, like the next SmackDown, something happened and it got everybody back into it.
Yeah,
and it's amazing. And tonight's just going to be another example. But I see Roman pulling it off tonight.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely.
All right, Mike, you have your thoughts together on this?
Yeah, I have my thoughts.
All right, okay. I see the little cloud ahead.
Yeah, no. Roman is definitely taking it. But what if they, there's that picture that Cody says is on his bed of Dusty holding up the title, and then he really didn't win it because it was from or whatever, whatever happened if he didn't win. Oh, because
was it a DQ?
Yeah, it's DQ.
Because of a DQ. So
yeah,
you got that looming where you could have Cody. You think Cody, and you could give Dave LaGreca another conniption at the next WrestleMania.
No, good lord.
Yeah.
If you have Cody, can you imagine Cody stand up holding the belt? They get those pictures and then wait, taking it back from him.
Oh.
So, but that's the only way I can see it going through and holding on to it till next SummerSlam for him to beat Hogan, because I could see a lot of people wanting him to beat Hogan's record too. So
yeah. Well, we shall see. It's going to be a fun night. Another couple of things I just want to touch on before we let folks go get set up for SummerSlam. Next weekend, as you mentioned, is Mission Pro Wrestling's Boiling Point. I am wearing an old school Izzy World Order, early Izzy shirt. Izzy's facing off against Jasmine Allure, top tier. Man, I just want Izzy to beat up Jasmine. So we'll see what happens. Genocide's defending her title against Tiffany Nieves. Tag team titles are on the line. It's gonna be an awesome show, man.
Tiffany's getting that.
Yes.
Really? Okay.
I'm saying it now. Yes.
Bougie retains. Genocide loses to Tiffany.
Yep.
And
Mongrovian Mike, I know years ago you weren't the biggest Izzy fan, but you've come around. Is she winning this one against the veteran?
I've come around because I naturally don't root for kids, but now she's old enough and she's gotten her butt
she's not a kid anymore? Okay.
Yeah, no.
She's 16.
She's proven herself. She's not Fredo. She's Izzy Corleone. She's Michael Corleone. She knows what she's doing. So you got that going. So yeah, no, she won me over. I naturally don't root for kids, of course.
Because they're always on your lawn.
Get off my lawn. I turn my straight lawn, but Izzy's allowed on my lawn anytime, and especially if she's kicking the crap out of Jasmine Allure. So
yeah,
that's what Jasmine gets for getting in my face last year.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Well, make sure you check it out on Title Match Network next week if you're in the area. MissionProWrestling.com for tickets and sponsorship opportunities. MissionProWrestling@gmail.com. Operators are standing by. No, they're not. Tony, I know. Before we let folks go, I know you wanted to talk a little bit about Collision, something specific in Collision.
Yeah, and I'll be quick. You might get a justice rant here, but I'll be quick because I don't want to go over. CM Punk. Last week when he came out with the bag and he came out with the I'm a Collision guy shirt on. He's promoting division in AEW. I don't like it. And this whole championship, he pulls the championship, the World Heavyweight Championship out of the bag, right? He says he was never pinned for that championship, which he's right about, but he got it stripped from him. He relinquished the title. They named a new or an interim champion. Same thing happened to Thunder, right? So why? And he takes the spray paint and he spray paints an X right across the middle of the belt, the E part of the belt, which took me back to Hulk Hogan spray painting the WCW World Heavyweight Championship with NWO. I don't get how he's just promoting division, and it's like he's only going to be on Collision. You've got the thing I didn't like about it though was you had the real World Heavyweight Champion in the back. MJF was there Saturday night, and he's out there taunting and saying he's the champion, he's the real world's champion, blah blah blah. No sign of MJF coming out, and I don't know if they're gonna tell this story and him coming out would have furthered something along they didn't want to further along. I don't know, but I don't know where they're going with this whole I'm the real world heavyweight champion. He got stripped basically of the championship, so why is he coming out and bringing this into a storyline? I just don't get it. And then they don't want to talk about what happened at All Out, the scrum, but then they're going to bring this championship and bring all that old stuff back up with him still being the champion, so it just doesn't make sense to me. And the whole thing where he's wearing the I'm a Collision guy shirt, he's just promoting division. And why do you want division in your company? I mean, it's divided enough there at AEW, and I won't get into that. But I just don't get you. You got the top guy in your company promoting division. I don't like that.
It's confusing too. It's confusing too because Ricky Starks came out, right? And then proceeds to challenge Punk for the title that's not really Punk's title. You go, I'm confused. Are we just assuming that he has a title on Collision? Like, do the brands have their own title? Like, I don't know. I hope, to your point, like, I hope they tell the story and explain this shit because, like, I don't know what's going on. None of it makes any sense to me. But whatever, it's AEW. Nothing makes sense most of the time for me.
Right.
So what does make sense is we got 3 minutes until SummerSlam. Y'all need to go get your snacks and drinks and whatever else you're enjoying for the show. Folks, really appreciate you guys being here tonight. We always have so much fun on Saturdays. Next week will be another show. Are we doing an early start time due to pay-per-views next week, maybe?
Yeah, I would think so.
Stay tuned to the socials.
Probably.
We'll keep you up to date. Awesome. All right, guys. Deb, give me your socials.
Do it.
That's So Debonair on the Twitter machine. Yes, I'm still calling it the Twitter machine, and Instagram. And I just want to give a quick shout out to the dude Sledge here. I saw he posted on Twitter earlier today that today marks 9 years clean and sober for him. So awesome. Shout out. Congratulations.
That's awesome. Mike?
Oh, you're a mess.
The C4 is kicking in. Woo!
Oh boy.
Woo!
Watch along. It's going to be fun.
Nah, SummerSlam's going to be fun. Hey, hashtag Nation's Corner on location. Shout out to John tonight. Johnny's running the show tonight. CCW, One Title Match Network also. So, I mean, blood in the sand. We got it going tonight. Next week, we're going to have the boiling pert. As my grandma would say, the burling pert.
Is that a hashtag?
That's a shout out to
Hashtag
my grandma.
burling
I love that.
All right, Tony,
Another
save
fun show, guys. I'm ready. I'm just psyched for SummerSlam.
Shut up. At Tony Justice, AJFA. And if you're a Metallica fan, speaking of Metallica, I was supposed to be there with Chad from Albany last night at the Metallica Pantera concert in Jersey at MetLife Stadium, and I couldn't make it because I was in the shop all week. But Chad had a good time. I was there in spirit. But if you're a Metallica fan, like I know all of us are, you know what that means. Ooh.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I am PW Front Row and across all the socials. And speaking of Metallica, I'll be enjoying the James Hetfield Blackened cigar tonight for SummerSlam. Save that one for the weekend.
Happy belated birthday to James Hetfield. He turned 60 yesterday.
Yes.
Yeah. Papa Het.
Yep.
Nice. I heard the
Papa
concert was
Het.
awesome. We had other friends that were there that said it was amazing. So
I'm sure
other
they'll
friends,
YouTube
and
videos.
Chad was there too.
yeah. Okay. And everybody have a good weekend. We'll see y'all again next week. Later.